Right. So, in the last session, we have discussed about the Workday application, especially we were using for two different purposes. One is for human resource side, HRM side, like human capital management, etc. At the same time, Workday application can also be used for financial services when we want to manage any financial services operations in banking sector, that can be used as well. So these are the two major requirements you see when we are working on Workday, especially while we are working on either in the HR side or in the finances or banking side. At the same time, yesterday we have discussed even about Workday business analyst roles and responsibilities, right? So what are the different roles and responsibilities being a business analyst we need to be focused more on? For the application-based business analyst, normally we focus more on the configuration side because normally there will be two things. One is configuration, second is integration. Configuration, according to the business rules of a particular organization, necessary changes will be made. When it comes to the organization level, it may varies, right? So what are the business rules we have may be varying from organization to organization. So required configurations and what are the requirements that are to be carried uh, to make some changes. Either it can be user interface level or it can be workflows, business workflows, right? So or else it can be relating to the data model part, right? So these are all something which comes under the configuration part. Being a business analyst, we must be good with. Next, integration part is nothing to do with the role of a business analyst because integration roles are different. If you are an integration person, like normally technical people who are working in development side will be focused more on the integration side. Integration means you are integrating Workday with some other application, some other internal or external application. So for that, creating some API, right? Application programming interfaces, everything we have to create. This is something normally we do when we are working on the guideware application. Now, today I'm going to discuss about what are the different modules that being a business analyst we need to perform, because what are the modules you can see over here as far as Workday for banking financial services are concerned remain as it is. These are all the things. Necessary changes because these modules were existed. Do remember Workday application we have these modules. How many modules an organization uses and what are the required changes they want to make, that can vary from organization to organization because we cannot relate the same thing for every company, right? So that may vary. So if you are a business analyst, while as I stated earlier, yesterday we discussed about the roles and responsibilities, etc. This is about the project which I have taken, a sample project I'm taking on, so that you need to work on as a role of a business analyst, how this can be used, right? So how you have to work to get some live exposure, I can say. I don't say experience, but live exposure while we are learning Workday in context to the role of a business analyst, you must be knowing, right? So as part of it, I am explaining about the modules, whatever we have, and what are all the changes that are required for us to make. And we don't make all the changes. Some changes can be seen over here. The first one about the balance sheet planning module. This is majorly useful for us to build any loan portfolio runoffs, right? So because if you want to create any portfolio for the loans and all everything, so either that includes all the principals, prepayment, interest, deposits, right? So what are the required loan fees we have? So either it can be for new origination or deposit models, right? So all these things can be forecasted. This is balance sheet planning. Okay, so you are building a portfolio, loan portfolio runoffs. This is all something comes under the balance sheet planning. So organizations, when they are using Workday financial services application or a module of financial services application, not the HCM. HCM uses for human capital management by HR teams. This is for financial services I'm talking about. they must understand about how this forecasting is, right? So what are the different comprehensive balance sheets that are required for us to see, right? So that you will be taking, because there, if you want to take some decision on the business based on the balance sheets as well as the income statements followed by other stuff, you will be knowing. So the financial position of the organization, necessary changes has to be made. So that's the reason why this is the first one. So normally in this module, we don't require much changes as far as my observation is concerned, I'm saying, right? So we don't see much changes in balance sheet planning because this is something common for any organization. Okay. The next one about the product bench and profitability. This is what something. This may have some variation because whatever the revenues are we going to plan. At the same time, the kind of direct costs which are involved in it, right? So at the same time, if you want to allocate any personal or overheads to create any product and bench profit and loss accounts, right? So everything will be comes under this product and bench profitability. So if there are any changes you want to make, mostly the changes will be applicable here. This is one of the core element, right? So one has to be known with. So if there are any changes, normally there are possibilities sometimes. I don't say every time, but there are possibilities where we want to make some changes in the existing ones. This is something which we have to see. This is about the product, this thing, profitability, etc., all that stuff. Next one about the non-interest expenses budgeting, as I mentioned you, right? So non-expenses budgeting is also one of the core and important element. One has to be focused more on, right? So what are the non-function budgeting do we have? So even that is also required. So because if you want to perform any non-interest expenses, right? So maybe either it can be relating to the salaries or benefits, taxations, and facilitation cost. So this is also one of the core and important module one should be used with, and we use it. Next one about the fund transfer pricing, because this is also one of the core module where if you want to adjust any kind of rates, right? So because if you want to know about the profitability of the product lines, right? So or if you want to manage the performances of various branches, this fund transfer pricing. So of course there were many other modules as such. I'll be giving you the other modules in coming days, right? So let us focus on first few modules so that you will be having more idea, because while we are starting the project, this is what something which we need to see. But major changes we see, especially in the fund transfer pricing, before that, product and branch profitability. So these are the two where you may be required to make some changes. Even non-interest expenses budgeting can also be. But for balance sheet planning, of course, we may not be required more changes. And apart from these modules, we have other modules as well. But that will be so lengthy for you while you are working on the project to get some exposure and all that. So hence I've just limited this to first, right? So if you do this successfully, so that there is a possibility for me to provide other modules also, right? So being a business analyst, how you are gathering the requirements, how you are presenting those requirements in the real mode, and how you have translated so that technical people have to make some necessary changes in this is what something you have to do. This is what about workday for banking and financial services, especially from the business analyst point of view, is what something which you must be doing. And this is what something which you're going to start from tomorrow, because the basics parts and all everything I have given. Now it's time for us to work on the project part, right? So balance sheet planning or product batch profitability, all that. So this part I'm going to discuss from tomorrow onwards. Okay. See you. Bye.